Okay, that didn't work. I was trying to prop my phone up. I will try something else instead. I can only apologise for the really, 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 really bad phone editing and videos that I keep doing. I am not very tech savvy at all. Right. Scoop down. Maybe you'll see my ugly face. Right. This is, I'm sure a lot of people know what this is. So yeah, although this is related to my videos that I'm doing about my personal independent payments stopping, I also have one of these. Now, it is a personal alarm. Nobody gave me this. I had to buy this myself. And I'm only going to do it quickly because it is really, really loud. But this is how it sounds when you pull out the pin. Yeah, so you can see it is very loud, very deafening. Isn't really for everyone, but I carry this with me on a daily basis. Now, I didn't used to. I've only recently just purchased another. And one of the reasons for me purchasing this is because I've had to attend a lot of medical appointments recently. And my rule to myself, because of my PTSD, is that I only ever go out anywhere if I need to. Not because I want to, but because I need to. And the only thing I probably would say that I do that I want to do, and that is to spend time with my children. And even that can be a real battle for me, to be around people, even my kids. So that's kind of the only time you'll ever really see me anywhere, is if I'm with them, or if it's like a need that, like, I need to go to the dentist, I need to go to the doctors, I need to go to the bank, I need to go to the shop. You know, I'm not doing it for pleasure. I'm not doing it because I enjoy it. It is a need. And so I thought to myself, I can't keep doing this anymore. I can't keep going out every single day scared about how I'm going to feel. So I brought one of these in the hope that even when I do feel a little bit like frightened or overwhelmed or feel like I don't feel safe, then I could just hold this in my hand and pull the pin. Would it save my life? Would it prevent me from being attacked? Probably not. But just the sound on its own might just be enough to trigger the attention of somebody else who might come over and be like, are you okay? Are you all right? What's happened? And my sister works for the NHS. She works, I don't know her job description, I can't remember.
I'd look at her.
And I said to her, why have none of the staff who work for the NHS got a personal alarm attacker on them? And she says we're not allowed to have them for safeguarding reasons. Apparently, because of the noise they make, it can damage your hearing. So obviously you aren't going to pull the pin and grab it and throw it into someone's ear, but the decibels on it are quite high. And what they don't want to be is liable for people trying to sue the government or the NHS for grievous bodily harm. Because at the end of the day, I mean, setting an alarm like this off, it can damage your hearing. And my ears aren't ringing at the moment, which is good. But it is more supposed to be of like a deterrent than an actual prevention method. So they don't use them. And a lot of places don't allow them. But for somebody like me, who, you know, who's got PTSD, if the government was to say, okay, we're going to make you go back to work, yeah, after I've appealed, I've done everything humanly possible to prove to them that I can't work, that I cannot integrate back into society enough that would enable me to go back to employment, which would enable me not to be in debt, which would enable me to pay for my medication, which would enable me to pay for everything I need to survive. Now, I will be doing a budget plan on that with somebody this week, just to double check that I've got all my numbers correct from on my file. Again, things have changed, prices have gone up, NHS prescriptions have gone up, there's all these different things that have come into play. But if they were to say, as an option, okay, we're going to make you go back to work, but you can have one of these on you. You can have a personal alarm attacker. So when you're at work, if you feel threatened or overwhelmed, or you feel like you're going to have a panic attack, or you're having PTSD flashbacks, whatever, you have got this, and you can press it, you can pull it. Even if I didn't pull the pin, this one's got a light on, so you can see the lights flashing.
Sure.
So I could potentially say I was talking to a customer, and they were like,
"You need a home tune sample." Yeah.
"Hi, I brought this product and I'm not happy with it because I washed it in my washing machine and it fell apart, and therefore I want a complete refund of this quilt cover." So I used to work for Dunelm. And they come up to my section because I'm bedding, and I'm standing there and I'm going, I'm really sorry to hear that, sir. You need to go to customer services. Do you know where it is, or would you like me to take you or show you where it is? Usually you're not allowed to leave your section. That is your responsibility, and bedding in Dunelm is still quite a big section. And they go, "No, I don't want to go to customer services. I want you to deal with it. I want you to sort it out now." And I'm standing there going, "I understand, sir, what you're saying, but you still have to go to customer services because they are the people that are trained and appointed to deal with the customer complaints."
Mummy, where's the Nokia phone?
And say it continues to escalate and it escalates, and you're standing there and you're thinking, "Oh my God,
Mummy, where's the Nokia
I can't
phone?
do this anymore. Go upstairs.
Where's the Nokia phone?
I'm on the phone. Go upstairs.
First, where's the Nokia phone?
1, 2, 3. Thank you." And you're standing there thinking, "Oh my God, I can't deal with this person anymore. They are really..." Just like with my son then, I've just had to do the 1, 2, 3 thing with him. You could quite easily, even if you didn't want to pull the pin on this, you could do this. Or if they didn't have a light, if it was a button, you could say press, and it was linked to the customer service desk. And so the customer service person behind the desk, they see this light's going like that, on and off, on and off, on and off. And they can say, "Okay, there's an issue, but where is this issue?" And they could have some sort of safety thing in place, basically, to support people that they're now forcing back into employment. So the alarm's going off behind the desk, and the person at customer service could be like, "Hi, I'm really sorry at the moment. I just need to do one thing." And even if it is, "Attention, lady, attention all staff. We have got a code 4 or a code 3 or a code 2 or, I think they used something like Mr. Freeze was one of the codes they had at my place. Or could a member of staff please go to bedding?" As, we don't even have to say bedding. They could just say, "Attention members of staff, there's a code B." Obviously, over time, customers would probably figure out what all the codes mean. They're not stupid. But it would just then give that person that extra support they need. And, so if you're flicking a light on and off or pressing a buzzer, or you've got that personal attacker, I'm not saying it helps. It doesn't make you cured. My PTSD will never go away. It's about managing it. And for me, if my employer was to issue something like this, especially when I used to work nights, it would, at the end of the day, get safeguarding reasons. As your employer, it shouldn't just be, "Oh, well, you're not in the building anymore, therefore you're no longer our responsibility." I beg to differ. I am your employee. You have given me these hours in the assurance that I will get home safely. Okay, nobody can plan for all eventualities. That's just not possible, as my counsellor told me this morning. But if I was an employer, I wouldn't give a 16-year-old a shift at 11 o'clock at night till 3 a.m. in the morning and then say, okay, make your own way home. Because that is an unrealistic expectation, for one. And two, how am I then safeguarding or building up a good reputation for my business? So if you wouldn't expect a 16-year-old to do that shift, if you knew that they didn't drive, then why would you give that shift to anyone who you know their only way of getting from A to B was walking or using public transport? I'm not saying you need to favour your staff, but people need to be safeguarded. And that's the one thing that employers are lacking. And that is proper training, proper resources, proper safety measurements in place to safeguard their staff. So now all these employers are being told by the Department of Work and Pensions, we are going to say that so-and-so isn't disabled anymore. They need to actively seek work. They need to go and get a job. And you go into the interview and they say, sorry, my alarm was trying to go off. And they say to you, okay, like for me, except for example, because I can't really talk about other people, I can speculate, but I'm not them. But if they were to say to me, okay, you've not worked for 10 years, why do you want to work? The first thing I'm going to say is, well, I've had to apply for a job because the Department of Work and Pensions have said I'm no longer entitled to personal independent payments. So straight away, blacklisted. Their attitude is not going to be a positive one. I'm not saying you should go into a interview and say that, but it's the truth. If they then say, do you have any illness or disability because of equal opportunities within the workplace, you're going to say yes. So with me, it's going to be PTSD, EUPD, OCD, anxiety, depression, high white blood cell count, a high platelet count. It's going to be bile acid malabsorption, skin infection, like really sensitive skin, so I can't use certain chemicals for cleaning. I have to wear glasses. Oh, and on top of that, I have got dyslexia, dyspraxia, and dyscalculia, which means I have a struggle with reading, writing, maths, retaining information, understanding time, date, distance, measurements, following instructions, reading instructions. I forget the rest. But yeah, so straight away, I've already given my potentially new employer 10 reasons why I would not be the best candidate to employ. I'm not saying they shouldn't employ me, because if they don't employ me, they're in breach of Disability Discrimination Act. But they're not going to employ someone like if, I don't know, for example, I can't think of anything. I really can't, because I'm drawing a blank here because I've not worked for so long. And then they say, what medication are you on? And then you say, well, I'm on this, I'm on this, I'm on this, I'm on this, I'm on this. Right, okay. How does your disability affect you? Oh, yeah, the other one I completely forgot about was, I have to wear adult nappies because I shit myself. Sometimes I will scream in chronic pain because of my arthritis and my bile acid malabsorption, to the point where I am almost passing out and I'll probably fall on the floor. Touch wood, I've not had that happen for a while. And if that kind of happens, I have to go to hospital and sit there screaming and then be told I'm okay and I can go home. But, so that's like 8 hours in A&E for just to be told I'm okay. But best be safe than sorry. Especially when it feels like you're having a heart attack. But again, I know it might sound like I'm trying to make excuses, but when you've worked for an employer for 8 years and you go for a job interview with them and they tell you that you're not qualified to do a job that you were already doing in the first place, so they won't give it you, and the manager who interviews you doesn't even know who you are, even though you know them because they're your manager, and you go into the interview and you go, "Hi, I've come for this job vacancy because it's full-time. It's not a 0-hour contract." And they go, "I'm sorry, who are you?" "Well, you know who I am. I've worked for you for 8 years. How can you not know who I am? I know who you are." And then they say, "Oh, but on your records, it says you've not worked for 2. And I'm like, "No, I have. I've been employed by you for 8 years. I just haven't worked because I've been on maternity leave. I just haven't worked because I had to go to hospital and have surgery. But I'm still employed. Check with HR." And I think to me that was a real kicker, is that every job I've ever had, when I've tried to be promoted and I've gone for the interview, or I had someone fill out the application form for me, I've had a letter come back or an email come back saying, "Sorry, you cannot apply. We've turned you down for this position because you're not qualified enough to do it." Or, basically you're not qualified. Or one of the other reasons is I didn't have a car. That was so frustrating. I remember going for the interview and they said to me, "Do you drive?" And I said, "No, not at the moment, because of the medication I'm taking." This was like over 6 years ago now. I can't drive, or I can drive, but I don't have a vehicle at the moment. However, I do not feel that having a driver's license is a necessity in order to fill the position that I am applying for. Because the position I am applying for is to help and support young people into employment. Most young people between the age of 16 to 24 may not have a driver's license. Therefore, I strongly believe that as somebody who is supporting people into employment, it would be an unfair and unrealistic expectation to expect them to apply for any work that they cannot get to easily and easy or be accessible via public transport, or if that is not running for whatever reason, that they are able to get there alternatively by, say, paying for a taxi or walking, or having a coworker or a family member pick them up. So how is that fair then for me to be driving up in my car and going, "Well, why can't you go and work at Ashby Farm? It's only 5 minutes from your house in a car, not walking." But, or, "It's only 10 minutes down the road." Yeah, in a car, not walking, or even a push bike. And I have the rule where, I'm always educated to believe that you never expect someone to do something you wouldn't do yourself. So if I had a student, and this is the example I gave them, I said, okay, if I had a student and they were struggling, and they said, "Katie," because that's what I'd let them call me, "I want to apply for this job, but I don't think I could get there." Then I would say, "Okay, we'll discuss how to get there." And I would try and teach them how to get there. It doesn't mean that just because, I'm able to help that person, or that I can go through the information with them, that if someone was to say the same thing to me, Like if I don't know, say my employer rang me up and said, okay, you've got the job, but we need you to go from Nuneaton to Leicester town centre, for argument's sake. I would be shitting myself, not because of my disability, but because I physically would be shitting myself, because I've never driven to Leicester. The last time I went to Leicester on public transport was 15 years ago, and I would be like, oh, how the hell do I get there? You know, what's the address? Do I probably get into the sat nav? Is it going to be easier to go by train? Is it going to be easy to go by bus? Is it going to be easy to go by car? I would be so stressed out and so panicky. And I'm an adult. So to say that to like a younger person, you know, and then obviously I would have to go and visit them anyway. So that would have had to have been factored in. And already, just talking about it, I can feel my stress levels going through the roof. But at the time, I was quite calm in the interview, and I was saying, you know, I would have to definitely know where each student was, how accessible it was, how easy it was to get there. Not just for them, but for my own mental health and well-being. You know, so if say my job entailed I needed to see 10 students a day, to me that would be an unrealistic expectation. Because I wouldn't be able to go and see 10 students a day, even with a car, depending on the location of the placement. But anyway, I didn't get the job. So it's neither here or there. But their attitude basically was, well, because you don't have a car, we can't employ you. and that is so frustrating to hear. And so I can't get a job because I don't have a car, but I can't stay on PIP because I've got a driver's license, therefore I can get a job. Yeah, this is kind of like how I'm feeling right now. You know, and I just think to myself, okay, so what are you going to do to help me? Because the one thing that, excuse me, it never said on that letter anywhere, as far as I'm aware, from what I've been told. There was no contact numbers. There was no help support offered. It was just, you are not entitled to PIP anymore. There wasn't any, oh, here is your information care pack. Now that you cannot claim this benefit, this is what you need to do to support you. There was absolutely nothing. So again, people like myself, people that have been dependent on the support that they've got, most of us literally through the skin of our teeth, we don't know what we're supposed to do. Because there is no support out there to help you to that next step. So I'm going to end it here now because I need to feed my little boy, who you could hear in the background earlier. And I will continue with these videos because people need to know that they're not alone. And if any of the information that I'm putting in, you can obviously glean from, and it can help other people, then fantastic. If there's anything I've not mentioned or people want me to talk about, it's something I can consider. But I definitely think safety is the biggest reason why a lot of people who are on personal independent payments are not going to be able to go back into the workforce. Because without safety measurements in place, safeguarding measurements in place for every single employer with every disability that can be imagined. I'm not talking about what the government say that makes you disabled, because again, it's a walking contradiction. Under the Disability Discrimination Act, the following is clearly and concisely listed as a disability. And if that is the case, then how can the Department of Work and Pensions then turn around and say, we are not classing this as a disability that enables you to claim personal independent payments? And this is the one thing that people are going to have to fight on. They're going to have to find out what the Disability Discrimination Act says, compare it to what the government are saying. Literally, keywords, people, keywords is what is going to help you win. Not just points, keywords. So if it clearly says, do you need an aid in order to support you with your toileting needs? You say, yes, I need to wear incontinence underwear. That is an aid. It's not a want. It is an aid because it is a need. So I'm going to leave it there. My little boy's shouting me. He's in the bathroom. And again, his needs are that he cannot physically use the bathroom on his own without me being there. Yes, he can sit himself on the toilet, but anything else I have to support him with. So thank you very much for everything and keep watching.